This is my new sister and brother, Oliver. Oliver lost his family just like you guys. Needed someone that could give him special care.
Hello everyone and welcome back to another Movie Nights movie review. Today I'm talking about Bring Her Back. This film was directed by Danny and Michael Philippou, who also directed Talk to Me, the amazing A24 horror film if you haven't seen it, and they were infamously racka-racka on YouTube for a really long time. This film is also from A24, and I'm about to give away the plot of the film, and the reason why I'm giving a warning is because a lot of the marketing has been kind of vague as to what the actual plot of the movie is, so if you don't even want to know the basic plot of the movie, then, just understand that I really like the movie, and even then with me explaining the plot, I'm going to do it in an incredibly vague way. So here it goes. A brother and sister get put into a foster home with a new foster mother and slowly start to realize there is a sinister agenda that the mother has. And this mother is played absolutely phenomenally by Sally Hawkins, who's just one of the best actors working today. But I also want to give credit to the brother and sister, the leads of the film, who both do a fantastic job, and that is Billy Barratt playing Andy and Sora Wong. Both did an absolutely phenomenal job in the film. And just to get to the point, I really, really like this movie. I think it is incredibly well done. It has some flaws, of course. I'm a certified Talk to Me lover, so just in terms of comparison, which is The Thief of Joy, but still, I think Talk to Me is a better film, but this in no way feels like a big step down or anything like that. It actually feels like a different film. While Michael and Danny are making films that are, in a similar genre, it's a different type within that genre. They're not trying to pigeonhole themselves into one type of thing, which I think is smart. Hell, I would even categorize this film as more of a drama than a horror film. It's a drama with very sadistic, dark, and scary undertones. And of course, at the end of the day, it is categorized as a horror movie because of what it deals with. But really what you feel when you watch the film is the drama, the family drama between this brother and sister, between their new foster mother, and just the pain that this foster mother is going through, which I don't want to get into, but there's a real sense of humanity, very dark, twisted humanity, but humanity nonetheless that are going on within all of these characters and their stories. And the way that the story plays out, almost reaches this inevitable point that you hate to see, but at the end of the day, is right for the story. Something that Talk to Me did as well that this film also does is it doesn't over-explain character traits, which is something you see a lot of big studio movies do, or a lot of, where they put enforced dialogue explaining a dynamic between two characters or a backstory between two characters. Instead, this film just lets you live in the world with these characters. And for example, there's a word that the brother and sister say to each other throughout the movie that, it's not a spoiler if I said it, but I won't, just, in case you want to see what I mean. But they have this dynamic where when they say this word, it basically just means them saying like, hey, I'm being for real, or hey, do you need help? Or hey, like basically just kind of cut through the bullshit. Like when I say this word, it means like, listen to me. It doesn't, take a minute to say like, oh, we say this word so that it means that. You just see them interact, you see them live, and you figure out that that's what that means. And the movie also does that with the backstory involving the Sally Hawkins character and what they're going through. It doesn't really take a moment to really dive into how she got her hands on a particular item that you see her constantly go back to that is kind of the catalyst for the plot. All you need to know is that she has her hands on this thing. How she got it isn't really important, and it would have felt like a distraction to the story and a waste of time to dive into that. So I actually liked that they were kind of getting to the point with that and letting you just watch it and live it as you go and not having to over-explain everything. It left a lot of intrigue and mystery to the film that I really enjoyed. Speaking of intrigue and mystery, there's another character in the film, another child, and the revelation as to how that child plays into the story was amazing. I loved how they did all that, and of course, it being from the Philippou brothers, there is some very intense gore in the movie that comes not completely out of nowhere, but almost out of nowhere, and the sound design of the gore is so good and very effective while you're watching the movie. I think the only real problem that the movie suffers from is kind of just the, where the hell are the police problem, which is just something that a lot of horror movies can go through, but what I will say is the movie does make an effort to show the older brother of the dynamic going, I don't want to spoil it, going through a situation to where maybe he wouldn't have the right state of mind or wherewithal to get help until a very particular part of the movie. But when he does get help, the people he goes to for help just seemed like a step that would be necessary if you couldn't get police or authorities involved. And it just, like, while you're watching the movie, you try not to think about things like that because it has a story that it wants you to follow. And while I understood the story and the steps it was taking, and it led to incredible suspense and edge of your seat tension at the end of the film. The third act of the movie is amazing. I just still felt like, okay, like I think they could have done a bit of a better job explaining why other avenues of help weren't quickly able to get to where they needed to be, if that makes sense. I also think that while the movie does let you live with these characters, it's not paced nearly as well as Talk to Me was. I think the pacing on Talk to Me was pretty phenomenal. And I like that this movie doesn't go for necessarily a big, bombastic, crazy bang of an ending. It goes the route of the journey of these characters and the arc of them. Like the Sally Hawkins character has a very insane character journey, and the way that journey concludes it was heartbreaking. Even though there's a lot of sadistic and wild shit that's going on, it was a heartbreaking thing to see. And for me personally, it really worked, and I liked the movie going in that direction and ending in that way. And I said this in my Talk to Me review when I watched it. I love Danny and Michael Philippou. I think they're very talented. I've always thought they were talented ever since they were young, making videos on YouTube. I think that this is just more proof that they have a place to stay in the film industry. I'm looking forward to their Talk to Me sequel a lot, and I'm looking forward to what they do beyond that. I was a big fan of Bring Her Back. I hope you are too. But guys, once you see Bring Her Back, what did you think about it? Please leave your thoughts down in the comments below. As always, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you on the next review.